Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of BoxingTime TV. This is a special Christmas edition. We have a special guest here today. He is my resident holiday guest. It is my esteemed brother and podcast fiend, podcast maven. I'll let him tell you more about himself. Andrew, the Jack, the Jake Jacobs.
Hi everyone. It's good to be back on BoxingTime TV. I want to say I've been really impressed with how far BoxingTime TV has come in 2017.
Thank you.
I think you've had a really good first year.
Well, thank you very, very much. Very, very much. We wanted to give you guys out there a Christmas gift of sort, and there's talk that Gennady Golovkin is going to rematch Saul Alvarez on December 25th. And that's going to happen on Cinco De Mayo in Las Vegas. And that's at least what's tentative. And usually, the thing I'm doing now is I'm waiting till the fights are actually made, and then I'm kind of doing the simulations. But I figured this would be a nice Christmas gift. I figured you're always up for a podcast. So, but we have a twist on this podcast today. It is not just the fight, because personally, I'm one of the many people that believe Gennady Golovkin totally outclassed and beat Saul Alvarez when they fought on September 16th. 2017, but recently a movie was released, and it is called
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
And because of that, it's a polarizing movie, just like this fight was polarizing. So I figured, why don't we have my brother, who really doesn't care or know anything about boxing, give a Star Wars review while we watch the fight. Every so often, we'll talk about the fight, but primarily this is going to be a Star Wars review around a rematch between Gennady Golovkin and Saul Alvarez.
Sounds great.
So basically, we see their ages. Golovkin's 35, Alvarez is 27. Golovkin is 1 inch taller, 70 inches, while Alvarez is 69. They both weigh 160 pounds. This is in the middleweight division, as you know. Their reach is 70 centimeters. Gennady Golovkin has had 37 fights, no losses. Saul Alvarez, Canelo Alvarez, 49 fights, 1 loss. That 1 loss, Andrew, was to who? Floyd Money Mayweather. And hey, if you're going to lose to someone, better to lose to Floyd Mayweather than anybody else. So right now we're going to go to the we're going to go to the tail of the tape. Fight scheduled for 12 rounds. 3-minute rounds, 10-point must system, no mandatory 8 count, 3 knockdown rules waived. Let's just get right to the action. I've already done this fight on BoxingTime TV before the first fight, and in that simulation, Gennady Golovkin knocked out Canelo Alvarez in 6 rounds. Who knows, maybe this fight will be different. Maybe Canelo Alvarez has learned a thing or two. But Andrew, I'm going to get this started. Why don't you start off, tell us how you felt about the Last Jedi, and then once you tell us about it, maybe discuss why it's so polarized and why people are having the problem with it that they're having with it.
Well, first of all, I should mention that I've been a Star Wars fan since day one. Our parents took us to see Star Wars.
I remember. I fell asleep.
Yep. In 77. I don't know exactly when in 77, but one of the reasons how I know that we were living in Southern California, Irvine, that we moved there by 1977, is because we saw Star Wars, the original, A New Hope, when we were living in Irvine. We lived in a apartment complex called Turtle Rock Vista in Irvine, and that's where we first lived when we moved to Southern California. And so I have been a fan of Star Wars for 40 years. They are my favorite movies of all time. I've seen all of the Star Wars movies multiple times, except for The Last Jedi. I've only seen it once. So my review is going to be from just the one screening. And with all Star Wars movies, I believe that you have to see them multiple times, not just twice, not just 3 times, multiple times, in order to really absorb them and understand everything that's going on. In particular, The Last Jedi, because there is a lot going on in The Last Jedi.
And if I may break in just a second, there's a lot going on in this fight. So far, I think Golovkin is having the crisper punches. Saul Alvarez, I think, maybe just a step behind in this first round. But back to your review. How'd you feel about the movie?
I liked the movie.
Liked. So you're not saying loved, you're saying liked.
Yes,
okay.
I'm saying I liked the movie. Personally, for me, it did not grab me the way that The Force Awakens or even Rogue One. And again, I'm just going off first viewing. This is all subject to change. But after my first viewings of in particular The Force Awakens, I was hooked. I loved The Force Awakens. To me, The Force Awakens was such a breath of a relief after, and I enjoyed the prequels. I wasn't a hater of the prequels. I even loved the Phantom Menace.
Well, I was about to say, the only prequel that I had a problem with was the Phantom Menace. That's the only prequel
I loved the Phantom Menace. I loved it. And I loved Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But basically, The Force Awakens was such a return to form. And one of the things about The Force Awakens, the reason why I knew it was going to be good, pretty much right off the bat, was the fact that Lawrence Kasdan, who is the co-writer on Empire Strikes Back, which is generally regarded by most Star Wars fans as the best Star Wars movie, myself included, and also a co-writer on Return of the Jedi, a very good Star Wars movie, was a co-writer on The Force Awakens.
If I may interrupt real quick. Interesting thing happening. Golovkin, basically, they made it an even round, except one judge gave it 10-9 to Alvarez. So basically, right now, Alvarez is up by 1 point. It's still early days in the bout. And as you can see, Gennady Golovkin landing very crisp punches against Saul Alvarez. Once again, my name is Evan Jacobs. You are watching Boxing Time TV. Please follow me on Instagram, Boxing Time with Evan. Like, comment, and subscribe to these videos. Direct message me or email me. Let me know fights that you want to see me make. Also, I was going to say, you have Golovkin on the left side of the screen, Alvarez on the right side of the screen. Andrew, interesting comment that you made about Lawrence Kasdan. Do you feel, because here's what I want to get you right now. Why are you a little lukewarm on The Last Jedi?
Well, the thing about The Last Jedi is I didn't have a problem. Well, I know that one of the main issues that a lot of people are having with it is they don't like the way Luke Skywalker was in that movie. The fact that he was so indifferent and standoffish and just like apathetic. I mean, it's like basically the polar opposite of what he was in the original trilogy.
Okay.
But
he was older. I mean, it's
right.
How many years since that time? I mean, people, as we've all realized, as you realize as you've gotten older, people change, you know?
Absolutely. And I had no problem with that. I had no problem with Luke. I thought that Mark Hamill did a terrific job as Luke. I had no doubt in Mark Hamill. Now, one of the problems that I sort of had with the movie was with the interactions with Rey and Kylo Ren. Now, I understand that they had some kind of connection that
through the Force, which we've never seen before in any of the Star Wars movies. We've never seen. Well, no, we did. Remember, like you would see scenes where, like, especially in Empire Strikes Back, where like when Luke was sort of laying there and he was like, "Father," and like he called out, and you see Darth Vader in him. So there was just more of that in this movie.
Well,
wait, by the way, don't mean to interrupt. Wow. So Alvarez seems like he's learned a lot from at least his first simulated bout, and hope maybe we'll see on Cinco De Mayo against his real bout with Gennady Golovkin. He has Golovkin against the ropes. I've never seen Golovkin in this position before, maybe against Kell Brook. What a really odd turn of events. Andrew, back to you here. Sorry, I don't mean to keep going into this. So you had kind of a problem with the telepathic force.
Well, my problem was, why would Rey want to interact with Kylo Ren? I understand that she did want to attempt to turn him from the dark side to the light side, but the fact of the matter is Kylo Ren killed Han Solo, his father, and to me, I mean, I know that's one of the first things that Rey, when they first contacted each other, Rey was livid. with him about, and rightfully so, that, she'd witnessed him kill her father. And I don't understand why then all of a sudden she's like, oh, okay, well, we can sidestep that. We can, put a pin in that.
Do you think that maybe it's the fact of his lineage with the Force and the fact that he has the Vader blood in him, the Solo blood in him, and just the fact that that maybe that's Jedis, they don't. I mean, look at everything that Obi-Wan did for Anakin. I mean, he didn't give up on him until he absolutely had to, and even at the end, he was. Remember, he told him, he said, in episode 3, he said, look, I've got the high ground, don't challenge me. And so I didn't have as much of a problem with that. I need to do a quick station break. Interesting things happening here because Gennady Golovkin's currently behind, yet Saul Alvarez has a swollen eye. Golovkin landing pinpoint punches. This is really turning into a very, very interesting rematch. Because is Saul Alvarez potentially looking to outpoint him, but can he outpoint him if he's taking the kind of shots that you're seeing taking, as Golovkin's stepping just a bit outside and landing with those precision punches?
Well, you know that I don't know if you know. I assume you know this because you're involved with MovieWeb and whatnot. But you heard that one of the early spoilers before Force Awakens came out was that Rey and Kylo were supposedly brother and sister.
There's been talk, but now we know that that's not the.
Well,
now we know.
Well, if it is the case, they're not. They haven't revealed it yet.
Well, but wasn't he saying like your parents were junk dealers and
that bothered a lot of people too. The fact that Rey's parents were not like Jedis. Obviously the big speculation, of course, was that that Luke was Rey's father.
But do you think that maybe that's just sort of people, like, we've grown up with this thing for so long, and for so long the Jedis had to be this one thing, and maybe the idea that the Force could be in all of us, like, do you think that kind of bothers people? That
absolutely.
That you can get the Force too easily, is my question.
And also another thing that, I think that people are having an issue with that. And another thing that people have to realize is that the writer-director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson, has been given the green light to do his own Star Wars trilogy. So this trilogy, this episode, The Last Jedi, will probably be a prequel to his trilogy.
Well, no, and also...
And that's a whole other Star Wars universe. And
there's a lot of stories in this universe. Like, people are, hey... Wait a minute, C-3PO, and this picked up right after this one left off. Why was C-3PO's arm no longer red? I mean, we know why. It had to do with one of the comic books, with one of the comics. But even in Rogue One, there were characters from comics, like, this is a very vast world, and there's been a lot of hands in this world. And I think why people are so mad, and I'm going to get back to the action on the fight right now. As you can see, Golovkin's obviously tired, is what they're saying, and they're saying that he's behind on points, yet Alvarez, they're saying, is breathing heavy and has a swollen eye. I think this is for naught. I think Golovkin is wearing him down, beating him down, those quick, sharp outside punches, and I think that he's going to probably stop Saul Alvarez in short order. What I was going to say is, I think that the reason why people are mad is they've lived with this for so long, and it's just, this is a vast universe. Rian Johnson is just another hand in it, and I mean, I don't want to see the same story. Like, I mean, I'm saying, like, how many times can we see the same story? That was sort of a big feeling of why I think episode 3 was sort of so unsatisfying, is because we all knew what was going to happen. For years, we'd had time to gestate and think about it. There was no way it could live up to the expectations, even though pretty damn amazing looking.
Oh, yeah.
So...
and one thing I will say, and look, Star Wars is my favorite movie of all time. Now, this past week, I did consider, I didn't do it, but I did briefly consider making another movie or another movie series my favorite movies of all time. I did consider.
Oh, on what, on Instagram or on?
No. Just in my life.
Oh, gotcha.
Just, taking Star Wars out of the number one
Oh,
spot.
Why? Because you did.
Well, I just felt like I thought that maybe one of the things that had happened was I thought maybe I've kind of not outgrown it. I'm not going to say I certainly haven't outgrown it. But maybe the fact that we're getting them every year now.
Yeah, you had said that.
As opposed to every 3 years, which is what we've grown up with. And with the prequels, I think maybe it might be too much for me.
Well, I think what it is, you see those movies initially having that time to gestate, having that time to tell that story. I mean, Star Wars is really, it's funny when it was first made for $9,000 and Fox had it, and it's like, George Lucas wondering if he's going to make his money back, and it was one of those things. It was really sort of a piece of art. They called it the space opera, and now it's like you look at them now, they are products and they are machines. There are food tie-ins, there are toy tie-ins, there's clothing tie-ins, there's everything tie-ins.
And that's increased a thousandfold under Disney.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, this is going to keep going and going for as long as the market's going to bear it out.
Oh, sure.
And the thing is, I mean, this could continue going and going and going. I mean, that's the thing is, I think, we're going to reach a point. I'm saying it's going to be all new characters in these movies, obviously.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think that the audience, and the thing is, for Disney, that's smart. I mean, we're getting older.
Yeah.
We're not going to be here forever.
We're not their target audience anymore.
And so there are going to be people that are looking, there are going to be people that are seeing these movies that have maybe only come to this through the last Jedi.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Quick station break. As you can see, an even round. They're saying that Golovkin's tired, but Canelo Alvarez is breathing heavy, but his eyes swollen shut, and the scorecards are pretty darn close. Like I said, I think Golovkin's employing that high defense. I think he's standing on the outside, and I think that that's just enough for him to land those punches against Canelo Alvarez. And right now, this bout could be stopped. And even though Golovkin is behind, and you see him landing those sneaky little lefts, it's enough for him to get a stoppage, and I think in short order he's going to land something and probably end this fight. So, was there anything else about the movie? What else about the Star Wars movie? Is there something that you wanted to say about the movie that you've been waiting to say? Maybe we'll start there and then work our way back.
Well, I do have to say that as far as reviews go, I avoid reviews in general. I don't believe in reading reviews. I'm a critic myself. I mean, obviously, not a professional critic, but I mean, we're all critics to a certain degree. But as far as like in particular Star Wars movies, I don't read reviews. I don't listen to reviews. However, I have to mention Kevin Smith's review. Kevin Smith, I don't like his movies at all. I used to be a huge fan of Kevin Smith's movies. Kevin Smith is one of those rare celebrities, I think he's the only celebrity, who I cannot stand professionally. I hate him. I hate his work. I hate him professionally. As a person, I love him. He's like my twin brother.
He's a fan. I mean, he is a real fan, and the review
he's the same age. He's basically the same age as me. He's like 10 days older than me.
Well, you sent me that review, and the review that you spoke of, like, I give him credit because he's really open-minded, and he said more than a few times in that review, man, never seen that before in a Star Wars movie. Yeah. Man, never seen it. And so I really, really like that. Oh, wait, look at this. As I said, Gennady Golovkin has Alvarez wobbled. Like I said, I think it's only a moment of time. That was, I thank you for sending me that. And actually, I look forward to listening to your friend Ralph Vieira's comments too, because he is, I like the way that he speaks. It's very, his comments and stuff like that, well, like on the face of them, they might just seem like, oh, here's a fanboy making comments. They're very well thought out, and he can back them up. And that's really, really interesting and nice to hear.
Yeah, Ralph is I believe he's as far as age.
Yeah, he's close to ours.
I think he's like 52.
Oh, okay.
This year, but
only 8 years older than me.
Yeah, But he's got a very he basically his favorite era of cinema is the 70s.
Gotcha.
And I have a bit of that just because I was born in 1970. You were born in 1973, so we sort of grew up with it, but not really.
Right.
But as far as Star Wars,
we were 80s. 80s was
80s,
our time.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm listening to Ralph's review right now, and it is a great review. And
how long is it?
2 hours.
Okay, cool.
And according to Ralph, I guess I'll go ahead and reveal this on here. Ralph says, this is his words, not mine, The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie of all time.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, you know, I mean...
So for him saying that alone, I think it's worth listening to what he has to say about it.
And, you know, he's very smart. I give him credit, because him saying that, people like you are going to listen to it and talk about it. Other people are going to hear about it, and they're going to want to listen and go, wait a minute, what the heck is his justification for saying this is the best Star Wars movie of all time? I love it because I knew that Rian Johnson directed Brick, you know, and he's from here. Brick takes place in San Clemente. Like, it's set in San Clemente, and I think they shot at San Clemente High School. Why I bring that up is that I just knew he was going to bring, you know, he made Looper. I just knew he was going to bring something different to the table. And I'm happy to see that he did that. If this just would have been the same movie that we've seen before, or, you know, maybe like an in-between movie to get us to the third movie, I knew it wasn't going to be that with him at the helm. And I found it very, very satisfying. I liked it.
And you've seen it twice.
Basically. I saw it the first time. I was really tired, so I fell asleep. But I knew I was seeing it a couple of days later, so then I went and saw it, and I watched the whole thing. Right now, very interesting thing, Golovkin and Alvarez, they're saying, are both tired. As you can see, Golovkin has Alvarez against the ropes, and I think that Alvarez is sort of in survival mode, although he did land a nice right hand there. Once again, you are watching BoxingTime TV, a simulated rematch of the Gennady Golovkin Canelo Alvarez bout that took place on September 16th, 2017. My name is Evan Jacobs. You can find me on on Instagram at BoxingTime with Evan. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this page. Please share these links. My brother's here.
I'm Andrew Jacobs. I'm just on Facebook.
He needs to do something. We're talking to him. He has a lot of... He kind of wants to, and correct me if I'm wrong, you feel more comfortable being a part of these things than being these things.
Yes,
gotcha, no problem. No problem. Well, that's why we're happy to have you on. You are our resident, at least, I mean, you're more than welcome to come on anytime that you want. But it seems like when we do these holiday things and can kind of tie them to something, and it just seemed to make sense to do a Last Jedi review simply because this bout is pure speculation at this point. Don't even know if it's going to happen. It probably is. Oh, look at that. Golovkin just tattooing him. Wow. Canelo Alvarez has some chin, though. And look, he's fighting back. He got off the rope. They're now in the center of the ring. If I'm Alvarez, he has a points lead. He should just get on his bicycle. But, so you... Where would you rank this? Where do you think this is in the Star Wars canon? Because there are people, I mean, there are petitions to take this out of the canon.
Yeah, I think that's stupid. And right at this point, I can't rank it. I have to see it a few more times.
We'll go see it.
Yeah.
You and I will go see it. Had I planned things out correctly, we could have gone and seen it today. As you can see, Alvarez hurt at the end of that round. Not really doing much this round. 10-8 by one judge. 10-9 by another. 10-9 by another. So Golovkin is starting to really pull ahead. He's only behind by 1 point. And I give Canelo Alvarez credit. This bout has gone longer than the first simulation match that I did. That bout ended in 6 rounds. I'd say go back and watch it, even though I've already told you that, just because this is, it's interesting content. So you're not going to rank it yet.
No, not yet. One of the things that I might be in the minority on this. I do like the fact that in this movie, Kylo wasn't wearing the mask for almost all of it.
See, and Kevin Smith brought up that point, too, about how basically that mask, you've seen him in the whole first movie, this whole mask, smash, gone.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I liked him in the mask. I liked him to the way he sounded in the mask.
Well, and maybe that makes him, by the way, I think the judges are, I think the ref is probably going to stop this pretty soon, because Alvarez is getting tattooed against the ropes, but that's just, so I don't mean to keep breaking away into this. Yeah,
it's a minor thing,
but I think that again, this movie shattered all those cathedrals of Star Wars, and people just have a hard time with that. And my feeling is like I don't know. It's let these movies evolve more. Let them be, let them be something different.
Let me ask you about.
It can't be the same film every time. It can't be the same 3 films following the same formula every time.
What's your opinion of Rose, the Asian?
She was okay. She was good. She was good. I mean, this one thing I love about these Star Wars films is they show diversity and they show a world that looks more like the world that I'm in than the previous.
Homogenized.
Well, I mean, but Star Wars has always done that. Star Wars has always done that. And this is just, I mean, sure, I thought Rey could have been done better. And, I was bummed to see what happened with Luke at the end of this movie. But at the same time, Luke can now be in the movies forever because he can just be a ghostly, he can just be a ghostly apparition, and they can continue to bring him back because his likeness can be in this movie as like a synth thespian. I mean, although they'll probably wait. Although right now, wow, I'm surprised they're letting this continue to go. Golovkin just tattooing Alvarez along the ropes, just hitting him really, really pulling ahead. It's almost like Canelo Alvarez, like Golovkin let Canelo Alvarez shoot his wad. Got him tired, stood on the outside, starts him with punches, and Alvarez, after taking a pounding, gets up. He's not going to go. He does not want to go out on his back. If they're going to stop it, he wants to go out on his feet. It's looking like he's going to get to the 8th round, which is going to get him 2 rounds further than it did in the first bout. Wow, we're all over the place here. We got Star Wars going on. We got now question. Solo, the Han Solo movie.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy to hear that Ron Howard's directing it. I've been a fan of Ron Howard's movies since the mid '80s, since Splash.
You're not at all worried because Kevin Smith brought up that other point. Phil Lord or whatever his name was taken off it because it was too jokey. But then you look at this new Star Wars movie. There's a lot more jokes in it. So, 10-7. Wow, Golovkin he's now ahead. I want to say by 8 points. At least he should be.
Well, I'm confident in Ron Howard myself just because I've seen so many of his movies, and I'm a fan of pretty much all of his movies that I've seen. And I don't know if you're familiar with Han Solo has a very interesting backstory. And I'm glad
No. What is that?
Well, I'm not gonna reveal it here.
Oh, okay.
Because the movie hasn't come out yet.
Oh, okay.
But he has a very interesting backstory that I think it's a good idea that they're going to be exploring it in the upcoming movie.
Going into this fight for a second, as in bad a shape as Canelo Alvarez is right now, and you can see he's getting just plastered, tattooed, his legs are wobbling. He's still in this fight in the sense of he has Golovkin in front of him, and if he's in front of you, he can land. And Golovkin isn't going to go away. I'm just really surprised. Golovkin really turned it around on Alvarez, really gave Alvarez the idea, maybe got into his mind, hey, you're ahead, you're ahead on points, stood back and really let Alvarez kind of blow his wad. But Alvarez is in this fight. He does hit hard, and if he lands, could potentially change. Oh, that's like the end of The Last Jedi when the lightsaber. Wow, God, folks. Oh! Well, once again, Gennady Golovkin stopping.
Hell of a fight,
yeah. Gennady Golovkin stopping Canelo Alvarez in 8 rounds. In my simulated match, he stopped him in 6. As you can see, the winner is Gennady Golovkin by a knockout. The fight lasted 8 rounds. Golovkin was not knocked down. Alvarez was knocked down 2 times, has a swollen eye. As you can see, Alvarez, though, up until the last round or 2, really in this fight. I mean, this looks more lopsided than it was. Gennady Golovkin, that's a testament to him as a fighter. It's only in the previous round that he turned it around and made it unanimous for himself. Because before that, Alvarez was ahead. Andrew, I would like to thank you for coming and providing your expert knowledge on Star Wars and taking an interest in the fight. Is there anything else you'd like to say on Star Wars? Is there anything else you wanna talk about? Like,
well,
what's on your mind?
If you have seen the movie and you are a Gen Xer like myself and Evan, and you've been a fan since day one like myself and Evan, you really owe it to yourself to, even if you're not a fan of Kevin Smith in terms of his movies, because I'm not a fan of his movies, but even if you're not a fan of Kevin Smith, his work, you really owe it to yourself to check out his review, because he nails it home. And I mean, I actually teared up a few times while listening to his review, just because he teared up while doing the reviews, and particularly recounting like when Luke was sitting with R2D2, and R2D2 showed the image of Leia from A New Hope.
I think it got the whole thing started. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, if you're, if you've been a fan for 40 years, it's well worth listening. And I would also encourage everyone to listen to Ralph Fierro's review on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much once again for being on here. We'll have to get you back. Maybe we'll do something for New Year's. New Year's is right around the corner. Yeah. We could just kind of figure out a fight to do it around, because there's some fights coming up that there's just a lot of fights coming up. We'll have to find the right fight. Once again, you've been watching Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs. You can find me on Instagram, Boxing Time with Evan. Please like, comment, and subscribe to these videos. Please share them. Hope that you all enjoyed this, and hope that you had fun listening to it and aren't going to be, hey, it wasn't all boxing. Hey, it wasn't all The Last Jedi. It's the internet, guys. We're going to have fun on here. So thank you so much, guys and gals, and whatever else. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you once again at the fights.